Every woman deserves to feel vibrant, safe, loved, and feel her power. The Woman's Vibrancy Code podcast is here for a potent use of your time. We will cover energy, hormones, and libido with episodes that also dive into entrepreneurship, money mindset, feminine power, and much, much more. Introducing Maraya Brown, Yale and functional medicine trained women's health expert, midwife, mom, and entrepreneur.
All right. Hello, everyone. Maraya Brown here. Today, I wanted to chat about sleep. Let's talk about, for those of you that wake up feeling not rested, wake often in the night, have a hard time going to sleep. Maybe you're getting up because you've got to go pee, you've got hot flashes, that 1 to 4 a.m. wake up where your body's exhausted, but your mind is buzzing. I want to really talk about this because what I watch happen is now women wake up in the morning feeling exhausted, and then that exhaustion continues throughout the day. It leads to brain fog. It actually increases weight. Isn't that fascinating? For those of you that are trying to actually lose inches, let me tell you, your sleep is vital, as well as your patience and your creativity and your ability to not feel like, I don't know, I had a sleepless night a few nights ago, and I just felt like I was a little bit, like I couldn't quite think clearly. I was in a daze throughout the day. As a midwife, I used to do 24-hour shifts, or I'd be up for 24 hours catching babies. And I remember saying to my husband, it's like, man, I feel like I just finished a 24-hour shift. So let's talk about sleep a little. So let's talk about, why do we want more sleep? Let's talk about some solutions and also what may be causing the lack of sleep. Okay, so first, I thought it's relevant to say that question, what percentage of people, what do you think as a percentage of people that can survive on 5 or 6 hours of sleep consecutively over time? What percentage of people do you think can survive on 5 to 6 hours of sleep? And this research comes from some of the top sleep experts in the world. While you are thinking about it, the answer is actually 0%. 0%. If you think that 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night over time is sufficient, let me tell you, it's not. Okay. We actually need 8 to 9 hours. And there is a phenomenal study that includes 1.6 billion people across 70 countries. And it is an experiment that is done every year, and it's called daylight savings. So listen to this. In the springtime, when we lose 1 hour across the globe, we're talking 1.6 billion people, 70 countries, there is a statistically 24% increase in heart attack rates the following day. That's 1 hour. Okay. Now, isn't it interesting? In the fall, when we gain an hour of sleep, there is a 21% reduction in heart attacks. They've also seen statistically significant shifts with individuals that are sleep deprived, increase in road traffic accidents, increase in suicide rates, as well as the increase in the harshness of a judgment made by a judge in the courtroom. So let me tell you, if you're in trouble, you don't want to ever be in court the day after daylight savings in the springtime. And maybe it's not a day to be out driving, because there's actually a statistically increased chance of traffic accidents from that 1 hour of shift in circadian rhythm, lack of sleep. So like I said, the ideal is 8 to 9 hours of sleep a day. If you sleep less, you weigh more. Okay, so sleeping less than 7 hours a night not only has been shown to increase rates of obesity, but also increase people's cravings for unhealthy snacks. From a hormonal perspective, there are 2 hormones called leptin and ghrelin. They are the hormones of satiety. They're like either the green light, red light, I'm hungry, I'm full. Those get thrown off if you are sleep deprived, okay? It also increases the chance of you being dehydrated. So now brain fog sets in, you feel a little bit more toxic, you feel a little bit more tired. Also, one thing that's kind of fascinating is something called social jet lag. So what often happens is people on the weekends maybe stay up a little bit later, sleep in, go out and have some extra fun, and then they go into the work week. And now they're supposed to wake up at a certain time, make it to work. And what happens is there's this like social jet lag just simply within a 7-day work week. And so I can tell you right now, if you're going to like look for the pointers, one pointer is, can you do a little bit of a better job ensuring that the bedtime routine and timing of sleep doesn't swing so far on the pendulum during your work week versus weekends? One other thing to bring up in the sleep conversation is something called your sleep chronotype. So in the midst of the Women's Vibrancy Code, I have all the women do what's called their sleep chronotype quiz. So what is sleep chronotype? Your sleep chronotype actually looks at, it's a genetic in nature. So you actually have been passed down a specific propensity towards wanting to wake at certain times, wanting to be creative and productive at other times, right? And that is actually handed down genetically. And so there are some actual genes that some test, but you can also just do something as simple as the sleep chronotype quiz. But if you think about the owl versus the lark, are you the individual that likes to stay up late and maybe sleep in? And that is kind of your normal rhythm, an owl. Are you more of a lark where you like to go to sleep early and wake up early? I can tell you for me, there's something very magical. If I can be in bed with my eyes closed from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., those 5 hours, oh my gosh, if I can sleep those 5 hours, it's spectacular. If on the other hand, I'm awake from 2 to 6 a.m., even 3 to 6 a.m., it throws me off for the rest of the day. It will feel like I was up for 24 hours. And what I know is that is actually linked to my genetic makeup. Okay. This is passed down to me from ancestors. And so keep in mind, you get to be aware of what is your normal rhythm. Okay. And know that there actually is some genetics behind it. What causes the lack of sleep from a physiological standpoint? Let's talk a little bit about adrenal health. Let's talk about blood sugar management because it is relevant. And what I'll tell you is the sleep or lack of sleep that you're having in the evening has a lot to do with how stable your blood sugars were for the entire day leading up. Okay, so what that means is when you wake up in the morning, within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, you need protein and fiber and fat. Okay, for those of you that want to do intermittent fasting, fine, do it in the evening hours. Stop your last caloric intake within 4 hours of going to bed. Get your full night's sleep, but you need to get food in your body to help your adrenals get the love and care that they need for and set you up for blood sugar management and stabilization throughout the day. Then no skipping meals. Watch your high sugar foods. My ideal is that every couple hours you're having something. Half your plate should be produce, a minimum of 3 colors. Let's make sure that there's ample protein, quality fat, and fiber in your food throughout the day. And for those of you that are going gluten-free, awesome. Love that to reduce inflammation. But make sure that it's not taking away gluten and then going right over to highly processed, high glycemic load foods. Okay. From an adrenal perspective, that's also going to support your adrenals. What are your adrenals? They are back here on your back, kind of above your kidneys, and they are your feel safe space. Okay, the adrenals are what kind of house your fight, flight, or freeze response. That's where your cortisol comes from. They're there for good reason. If you are really in a space where you're not safe, it's going to bring your heart rate up, your respiratory rate up, bring out some blood sugar quickly so that you can run fast, fight hard, freeze well, right? The challenge is most of us are under high stress, whether it's conscious or unconscious, all day long. And so our adrenals are on hyperdrive. So if you're one of those specifically that is waking between 1 and 4 a.m. with your body feeling tired, your eyes feeling tired, but your mind buzzing, and now you just can't go back to sleep, we want to think adrenals. Okay, so what are you doing to care for your adrenals throughout the day? This is one of my specialties. With the women that I work with, we do a deep dive into adrenal health. I've got all of them drinking adaptogen elixirs and getting personalized and specialized adrenal support. We're doing specific adrenal testing And then catering, what does that look like based on your lifestyle and your overall inflammatory load and your overall hormonal makeup, so we can support your body feeling safe, okay, from both a conscious and an unconscious space, okay? What shifts can take place to let that autonomic nervous system in the place of, I'm not being chased by a lion, okay? When that's being done, I promise you, your sleep will start getting better. Also want to bring up digestion, okay? If you have H. pylori, parasites, anything underlying with gastrointestinal stuff, lots of gassiness, bloating, right? That can also be affecting your sleep. And so for some of the women that I work with, one of my favorite functional tests to really do a deep dive and look at your gastrointestinal tract, your microbiome, so to speak, is called the GI map. I want to mention alcohol and caffeine. For many, you might drink a glass of wine or have some alcohol in the evening to wind down. Let me tell you, it's actually blocking your sleep. So what's happening is you might think that you're getting better sleep and you're sleeping like a log, but it's sending your liver into overdrive and it actually blocks REM sleep. So you're not getting into that deep REM sleep. Plus it increases dehydration. So now your body might seem like a log, but you're actually not resting and rejuvenating, and you're getting dehydrated. So now you wake up in the morning not feeling rested. You have increased brain fog, but you're like, what in the heck? I was a log. Okay. So let me tell you, alcohol is not serving you in that way. Also, alcohol, one glass increases your estrogen by as much as 30%, just as a heads up. Caffeine. Many of us are drinking caffeine in the morning in order to wake up, in order to continue to function in our day. Let me tell you, it's not serving you. It's likely part of the cause of why you're not sleeping in the evening. It's also depleting your adrenals and wreaking havoc on your gut. So now your body's actually not able to fully absorb the amazing nutrients from that amazing food that you're eating. Okay. And it's leaching your adrenals. So now your adrenals, once again, are on hyperdrive. They're going into fight, flight, or freeze overdrive. And then for the ladies in here that are beyond age 40, when your ovaries start kind of shifting and that estrogen progesterone story starts shifting, it's generally at that point that the adrenals start taking over some of the brunt of the activity when the ovaries are getting a little bit tired. But if you've continued to push yourself, too much alcohol, too much caffeine, too much stress, not enough self-care, not enough sleep, then on the knock, 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 hey, adrenals, we need you now. The adrenals are like, sorry, I got nothing. I've already been on overdrive for too long. And now you're in a scenario where your experience of perimenopause and menopause is crap. And you've got more irritability. Your bleeding goes all over the place. You're having hot flashes. You're having even more troubles with your sleep. Plus stress management becomes even more difficult. Okay. And your hair starts thinning, all that stuff. Okay, let me take a peek at the chat. Let's go into solutions. So what do you do? Okay. If you go all day, let me tell you, nothing is going to change. Okay. We either pay now or we pay more significantly later. And when I say pay, what I mean is you have to invest time, money, and energy into shifting the pattern, shifting the loop. Okay. It is okay for you to prioritize yourself, particularly women. Okay. We have to be in the flowing, puttering, graceful energy. We have to allow ourselves to lean back, receive, allow energy to be pulled to us rather than the white knuckling it, go, go, go. Okay. As women in the powerful feminine, we are not meant to do the 9 to 5 same every day. And we do. We go and we burn the candle at both ends. We care for all things. We're always in our heads, constantly spinning, diffuse awareness, right? I get it. I'm a woman too. And we have to interrupt that pattern. We have to get into our body, allow ourselves to feel our senses, a moment of, that smells good. Although I recovered from COVID and I can't smell everything yet. It's coming. It's on its way. And I'm good. I'm healthy. There were no symptoms other than that. Maybe you want to taste something that tastes really good. You want to feel yourself breathing. You want to take a moment and drop into your body. Take a pause. look out the window and see something that looks beautiful, and allow yourself to experience pleasure. Acknowledge that you are receiving that pleasure. Okay. That in itself, the body goes, oh, okay, I'm not being chased by a lion. And as you do that throughout the day, even if it's just 60-second snippets of just a moment, watch what will happen. You will start sleeping better in the evening. Okay. So we want to bring in more pleasure. Yes, we want to move our bodies. For those of you that work with me, you might know that I am not an advocate of moving your body the same throughout the month. Whether you are bleeding or not, we have our infradian rhythm, our 28-day cycle rhythm. Okay, the moon pulls tides. Let me tell you, it pulls us as well. Okay, if you are a menstruating woman who is ovulating, yes, during your ovulatory time, that is a time to do your weights, your running, your big activity. But if you are in your bleeding time, no, my friend, that is your time to rest. Maybe some yin yoga, maybe a gentle walk out in nature. Okay. And then we have the 4 seasons of that 28-day cycle, which I talk a lot about. I'm not going to get into here. But the other piece around movement is not just how do we move throughout the month, but also how do we move throughout the day? Okay. And as you are preparing for your evening, let me tell you, for those that are mothers, we have an evening routine for our children. Okay. And then somehow we think once we're adults, we no longer need that evening routine. We do. Okay. So one just kind of mental shift is to start thinking about your evening, your preparation for bed, as the beginning of your day. What if that was actually the beginning of your 24-hour period? Meaning, how am I going to set myself up for this next 24 hours? And what routines am I going to start incorporating into my preparation for sleep, ensuring that I have great sleep and waking in the morning ready for the rest of my 24-hour day? Just a little shift. And in that, as it relates to movement, part of your bedtime routine is, how can I slow down my movements? Okay. At night, I'm packing the kids' lunches and I'm cleaning up the house and my husband's doing the dishes and I'm getting this done. And we're like, all of a sudden it gets kind of hectic. And then the bedtime routine, can we slow that down a little bit? Can we dim the lights a little bit? Can we slow down the movements in preparation for it is time to slow down? Okay. The other thing with touch, if we pay attention to, can you give yourself a little bit of a massage? If you have children, that's a great time to give them a nice foot rub, to take a bath, to use some lavender oil. Can we start slowing down the way in which we feel our bodies? And for the melatonin shift, remember that melatonin comes on. That's the hormone that helps us sleep when the lights go down. Okay. When the sun comes up in the morning, the sunlight comes in through our retina. And then that is what turns the melatonin off and the cortisol on and tells us it's time to wake up and it's time to get ready for our day. Well, what happens is many of us exist in jobs where we have artificial light that's not actual light from the sun, and we're in artificial light all day, and then we're getting into our evening hours and we have all of our electricity going and our house lights on, and then all of a sudden it's like, snap, okay, turn the lights off, it's time to go to sleep. And the body's going, wait a minute, I didn't get the memo, I didn't get the message in advance. I've continued to have light coming in through my retina and I didn't realize that that's what was supposed to be happening. And so then the melatonin doesn't necessarily turn on. So as you're going into the evening hours, can you start paying attention to, are there some lights that can go off? Can you do candlelight? Can we start dimming things? Can we start preparing our body by slowing down the movements, slowing down the touch, allowing even just to give yourself a hug, give yourself a little bit of a gentler space so that we're preparing for that, okay? Ideally, in the same genre is we want to start limiting how much time we're spending on screens. I'm currently looking at my screen. I have my phone screen. There are TV screens and they are projecting light into our eyes. Okay. So in an ideal world, what we're looking for is 2 hours before going to bed, we're turning that screen time off. Listen, I'm an entrepreneur. I have 3 young children, 9, 7, and 4. There are some times that I have to work in the evening, work in the evening hours. I have my blue light blocker glasses. I have my blue light blocker on my screen, and I pay attention knowing that this is going to be impacting my sleep for the rest of the night. So what can you do? Can you, rather than reading on a Kindle, can you read on an actual turn the pages book? Yes, there are those things out in the world still. If you want to look this up, you can look up the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay, it's what's happening is the sun or the light is coming through our retina, speaking to our brain, and that is what is either turning on or not turning on the melatonin for us to sleep. And some people go, well, I'm just going to go take melatonin. Challenge with that is it can be a little bit of addictive, and it's not necessarily going to work. You don't get to go, and then just poof, hit the wall, take the melatonin, go to sleep. If it's not working for you, there's a reason it's not working for you. Okay. Ideally, if you're sleeping with cell phones, keep them in a different room. Okay. Maybe for some, turning the Wi-Fi off at night while you're sleeping. Those are things to consider. And if you use your phone as your alarm, okay, can you get an alarm clock? If it's in the bathroom, are you still going to hear the alarm going off and still waking you? But we just remove it a bit from our rooms, okay? Couple last things and then I'm done here. Temperature makes a big difference. Ideally, for quality sleep, we're looking at cold, like 62 degrees, ideally sleeping naked if that's something that's comfortable for you. For the women who are waking with hot flashes, we need to look at your estrogen, okay? We need to make sure that your bladder's not full. So getting the majority of your hydration during the first half of the night. The first half of the day. And as you're approaching the evening hours, starting to wind down and not super loading your bladder, because a full bladder will give you a hot flash and wake you from your sleep. So cooler evenings, not a full bladder, trying to stay away from either reduce or eliminate your alcohol and your caffeine. And obviously, if you work with me, I give you a lot of accountability with me and my team to help support you, so that's not just taking away, but what do we replace it with so that you still get to have pleasure and the things that you were looking for in consuming those needs are still met, but they're just met elsewhere. And then practicing gratitude. Okay, so in the evening, I have all the women that I work with get the 5-minute journal. They do their evening gratitude practice. It is a great way to start and end your day, but particularly as you're preparing for your evening bedtime, go to a place of gratitude. What am I most grateful for? What went well today? And then the last piece is making sure that you're working with someone that can support you. Okay, maybe for some of you are listening to this, you're like, I've done all that. All right, well, maybe it's time to actually get some accountability. So the way that I come in is with me and my team, we get to support you by looking under the hood from a functional medicine lens, okay? Looking at actual quantifiable testing. What is going on with your hormones? What is going on with your adrenals? Looking at your food diary. How are you eating? How are you thinking throughout the day? Okay, you get to have the accountability and the group support to address any of the old trauma that's getting in the way of being able to rest and feel safe. We get to the bottom of things like gut health, liver health, thyroid health, hormonal health that could be, looking under the hood, part of the physiological cause of you not sleeping well. But then we also get to help support you in really embodying your feminine power, standing in your experience to fully receive pleasure, okay, and abundance in the way that we know that you're destined to experience. And so part of that is both the cause and the byproduct of quality sleep. So for those of you that are listening and you're like, oh my gosh, how did she know? How did she know that this is what I was looking for? This is what I'm longing for. And let me see if I can help support you along this journey, because of course I want you to sleep. Of course I want you to feel rested in the morning, in the afternoon, throughout the day, okay? That you can have brain clarity, right? You don't feel dehydrated. You don't feel toxic. You don't feel heavy. You don't have to continue struggling with, why can't I lose that extra weight? Why can't I have clarity on what to eat, when to eat it, how much to eat, okay? And help to give you a personalized supplemental regimen and new way of thinking, new way of being, so that you can really lean back in your feminine power and know that more is coming. okay? And you deserve to feel spectacularly vibrant, okay? You deserve to feel energetic all day long, to feel like there are solutions and answers to your hormonal well-being, and to know that you are turned on by your life, your lover, and yourself, so that you look in the mirror going, there I am. I recognize myself in the mirror. I am loving how my days are spent and how my life is spent and what my career looks like and what the future of my career is becoming. And the love in my life, both receiving and giving, is spectacular and uplifting. So I just want to say thank you. Once again, for those that don't know me, it's Maraya Brown, online women's health expert. I run The Vibrant Life, which brings to you online workshops. I have the Women's Vibrancy Code, which is an online program with me and master coaches to really help you just get in there and create the big, expansive, vibrant life that's abundant, that I know that you deserve to be living. And I also run Beyond the Red Tent, an online program where I vet products and experts and bring them to the marketplace. So thrilled to have you here. Happy to be serving. Cheers to your sleep. Hopefully you learned something new today, and hopefully you have an action step that feels reasonable for you to start, even if it's just one thing. What's one change? What's one thing that you're like, I can shift that, and I'm going to try to shift that for the next 30 days. Give it a try and see what happens. And in the meantime, I look forward to hearing from you if you are a driven woman who is hungry for transformation, hungry to feel like you've got solutions to your physiology, okay? No more going to your provider, explaining what's going on and being told, oh, your labs are normal, here's a med. Okay, if that's not your solution, I've got you covered, okay? And I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Vibrancy Code. Connect with us and take the first step to transforming your energy, hormones, and libido at thewomensvibrancycode.com. Cheers to your zest and vitality. Make sure to follow for weekly power-packed value.